Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Mother of Tarot. In today's video, we are going to talk about my near-death experience. That's right, I died and I came back to life. Now, this is something I didn't want to talk about for a really long time because it was kind of embarrassing to me how I died, how it all happened, and when it happened, I wasn't even sure that it really did. I was kind of in denial for a long time. But in order to get to the bottom of it, we need to start from the beginning. Now, before I get started, I do want to mention that I do offer personal readings. So if you are interested at all, you can email me at themotheroftarot@gmail.com. And I am also on Instagram at themotheroftarot. And I'd love to connect with you there. All right, so where do we start with this? Well, I am originally from Michigan. And about 5 years ago, I decided to move to California. Now, the big reason I decided to move was because I really wasn't happy where I was at. Not just with my environment, but with my body. I was having a lot of physical pain. I just got out of a really toxic relationship. And I was just really depressed when I wasn't working. I was home, just laying in bed, just being really sad all the time. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to feel like shit, I might as well do it in sunny California, where it's 70 degrees and beautiful and right on the ocean. Am I right? So I just did it. I packed up all my bags, saved up just enough money, and I headed out to California. When I got there, it was tough. I got involved in an online scam, lost thousands of dollars. I twisted my ankle really bad. I lost my first job. It just wasn't going so well at the beginning, and I had a really hard time, and I had debated moving back to Michigan, but I was like, no, I am doing this. Like, I am going to make this work. And then I started to make some friends, and the friends were really awesome, and they were a little crazy, and by crazy I mean they really loved to party, and I love you guys. If any of my San Diego friends are watching, you have such a special place in my heart. I love all of you, but you all are wild. And what happened was I started getting invited to all these parties and these festivals. I got invited to a free trip in Mexico, and what was around? Drugs. Lots of drugs. I've never seen so many drugs. The most I got into in Michigan was some alcohol and some weed. And that was just fine with me. Like, I didn't have any desire to ever do drugs or anything like that. But when I was feeling really sick and really shitty, and I was really, really tired all the time, I couldn't even have a drink, like a glass of wine or a beer, without just falling asleep afterwards. And so it really messed up my social life. Or so at the time I thought, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just going to try these drugs. Because I've already had taken Adderall before. So I used to be prescribed it, and I knew how much it gave me energy. So I was like, so I started taking Adderall when I went out. And I just started buying it illegally. And yeah, it was great because I had all this energy, and I was like, this is fantastic. But sometimes I couldn't get that. So what did I try next? Cocaine. There was cocaine, and then there was Molly. Those were my favorites because they were uppers. When I did the drugs, when I drank, it was like, I just felt amazing. So I am not promoting the use of drugs. I want to get that out there right now. I'm not promoting it. I think it's terrible. I don't think anyone should do it. I'm just kind of explaining my journey and how I died. So let's continue. So after about 1.5 years, I was probably, and I wasn't like that deep into drugs. Like, I like to defend myself there because I'd only do them like once or twice a month, which is still bad, but I mean, that's really all my body could handle because after I did them, I had to spend a whole week or two just recovering, right? And just getting my immune system back up with the limited tools that I had at the time. So after about 1.5 years, I got invited to this beautiful party, beautiful house on the beach in Malibu. It was just like gorgeous. At this point, I had been living in LA. Moved from San Diego after about 1 year there. Moved to LA to work in TV. I was working in production, like behind the scenes stuff. So I was at this party, and there was just a lot of cocaine. And something I always prided myself on, which sounds silly now, was always having so much control over how much I did and just doing a very minimal amount. Well, this night was a little different. This night, Megan blacked out. This night, Megan does not remember how much she did. And I remember waking up the next morning being like, oh my god, I don't remember what happened. I feel like shit. My heartbeat is all over the place. Like, oh God. You know, I was like, I need to get home. Like, I wasn't thinking I need to get to the hospital. Like, I was just like, I need to get home and rest and drink fluids and, you know, eat some food or something. So I get home and I get in my bed and I'm like wound up. I can't fall asleep. I just feel like my heart's all messed up. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what did I do? Like, how much did I do? I was like trying to remember the night. I was trying to piece everything together. I just felt so stupid, and I was just in this really low vibrational, hateful energy, just hating myself and just feeling like a loser. Just horrible feelings, right? And then all of a sudden I passed out, or I thought I fell asleep. But all of a sudden I was like in this other realm. I was like in the afterlife. I was in the spirit realm. And I don't remember like how I got there. Like, I know some people talk about their near-death experience, how they're like going towards a white light or going through a tunnel or something. But I don't remember that part. I just remember being there, and there was like white beings around me, like white spirits. And I was like a white spirit. Like, there was no physical body. And I remember them talking to me, but talking to me like telepathically. So they were asking me, and it was like I knew them. It was weird because it's like I knew these people, or not people, I don't know what you would call them. But I knew them, but I didn't know how I knew them. Like, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared at all. I was like, oh, hey, okay. Like, everything looked kind of familiar, even though there wasn't much to look at. If that makes sense. So I felt really at peace, and I felt really good. And they were like, okay, Megan, like, are you ready to be done on Earth? Like, you're in a lot of pain. You don't seem to be happy. All of this can go away. Like, all of this can be done, but you just have to, like, tell us. Like, we're giving you a choice. And I was like, what? Like, and I kind of thought about it for a minute, like, do I want to be done? Like, because I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't want to be in pain anymore, so it was very tempting to just stay in whatever kind of realm I was in. But I thought about it, and I was like, no, I'm not ready to be done. Like, I have a lot of work to do. They're like, are you sure? Like, are you positive? And I just, like, knew in my gut that I had so much work to do, or, like, a part of me knew I had a bigger purpose. And at the time, I didn't know what that was. This is 3 years ago, so this was 2017. It's 2020 now. I had no idea what my purpose in life was at that point. Like, I was kind of going from job to job. At the time, I was working in movie production, which was really fun, but I didn't love it. I knew it wasn't my passion. You know, I wasn't making big changes in the world. But when I was up there, it's like I knew I had work to do on this planet. I was like, no, I have work to do down there. Like I knew I had work to do. And it was just this overwhelming, like, powerful feeling. And they were like, okay, you're sure? And I was like, yes, like, send me back. I am ready to go back. And so they're like, okay. And before I went back, I just remember filling my heart space with so much love. I remember thinking about my mom and how much I loved her and I missed her, and I just, like, couldn't wait to talk to her again. And I just filled my whole heart space with her love. And then all of a sudden I was in my body, and I opened my eyes, and I took the biggest, like, gasp in, the biggest breath of air. And I just started bawling, because I was like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened? And I was so freaked out, and I didn't want to tell anybody, because I had a couple of roommates at the time, but I was like, I can't just tell them that I just died. Like, they're gonna think I'm insane. Why would I tell anyone that this just happened? And then after a few days went by, I felt so sick that whole week. I felt, it was like hell. It was hell. I was like, oh, why did I come back? No, I'm kidding. I was glad I came back. But I was like, holy shit, I feel like, I got this horrible throat infection. I was just, like, in bed. I had such anxiety and the depression. It was just, I was just in bed for literally a whole week. But yeah, I knew that I had a bigger purpose. So after some time went by, I started to think that that didn't really happen, like it was a dream, because I have really lucid, really vivid dreams, and I figured that it had to have been some sort of weird, messed up dream, and I just kind of writ it off, like, that's what it is. I wrote it off, not writ it off. And then I ended up meeting somebody about a year later who had a near-death experience. This person actually was pronounced dead in a hospital for minutes. I can't remember the exact amount of time, but they had a very similar experience to mine. They saw white beings, they were up in some other realm, they were communicating telepathically, and I was like, oh my god, like I think that I really was dead, because it started to just put the pieces together. And then I read a book where someone talked about their near-death experience. It was an autobiography, and they talked about how when they came back into their body, they filled their whole heart space with love, and like that's how you're supposed to come back, is like through love. I was like, oh my god, I did that too. And then I read about someone else's near-death experience, and then I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this happened. And finally, after I think a couple years later, so this was about a year ago, I finally opened up and told a couple of my friends. I was like, okay, this is what happened. And then I started getting involved. I started reading Dolores Cannon books. I don't know if you guys know her. She actually died a few years ago, but she does, this is one of the books that I love that I've read by her. It's called The Convoluted Universe, and she does past life regression hypnosis. She's regressed so many different people back into their past lives that not only would they go into their past lives, but they would actually go through the death of their past life and what happened after they died, like what kind of realm afterlife they went through. She started to compile all of these experiences because they were all so similar. All these people were having these death experiences, and they were going into the same space and time, same afterlife, or whatever you want to call it, heaven. And it's really beautiful, and the book just made sense to me. I was like, this is it. Like, this kind of compiles everything that I knew to be true, like within my gut, and then everything that I experienced. And so if you haven't checked her out, she also has like really awesome YouTube videos where she just talks about the afterlife and talks about parallel universes and past lives, and it's really awesome stuff. Like, she's really cool. I even got a regression hypnosis session done by one of the guys that worked for her, and it was really quite the crazy experience. So anyways, obviously after I died, I decided to change my life around. It was like a wake-up call. Like, I was like, okay, no more drugs, let's stop drinking. Well, the drinking kind of didn't stop exactly then, but it did shortly after that. I realized I needed to change something. I needed to start getting better, and I was the one that had to do it. Like, no one's gonna come save me. I have to just man up. I have to figure out what this is, or woman up, or whatever you want to call it. And so I did. I started looking into a plant-based diet. Shortly after that, I found out Medical Medium, which I know a lot of you know. I've talked about him a lot on my Instagram page, even on some of my YouTube videos. He's amazing. His nutrition, lifestyle changes that he makes, and recommendations are so good. So that really got me on track to start detoxing, start getting all the toxic crap out of me. And then after about a year of doing that is when I started my spiritual practice. So I'm not ashamed anymore of this near-death experience I had. It really transformed my life. It made me understand what it's all about, what happens when we die, and then also how to like take advantage of like our purpose here on this planet, because we all have such a beautiful purpose, and we all just have to wake up to find it. I mean, after my death experience, it still took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do for my life, right? And I mean, now I know it's doing tarot, it's helping people, it's spreading knowledge of what happens when you die, and what kind of energy you experience, and why these painful things that we go through are so powerful, and how they're helping us to just transform our lives and then transform other people's lives. Because I look at my pain and I see so much beauty in it now. I see so much power and growth that's come from that. Like, I have so much more confidence than I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I grew up with health problems, so I was insecure from a very young age. I was very confused about how the world worked. I was very lost, and I just let other people's emotions and opinions control how I felt. I just gave up control of my life. And now I'm like stepping into my power. I'm doing what I love. I'm creating these videos, which is like my type of art now. And it's awesome. And I'm so happy. And I'm not ashamed anymore that I did go down the drug path for a while, and it happened, and I grew from it. And it pushed me to get to this point in my life. So I see so much beauty in that pain. So I wanted to remind you too, if you're going through some pain right now, there is beauty and there's power in it. It's all about learning how to turn that pain into power. Because now I'm using my knowledge that I've learned to help my clients, to help the people I give readings for, and it's awesome. And you know what? I was thinking about this too, because I have been through some shit, right? I've been through some toxic relationships. I've had some really bad heartbreaks, and I've been through a lot of physical health and mental health. And one of the things I realized that I haven't been through is a death. Like, not I've died, but I mean like someone close to me dying. I've had some grandparents die. I've had some dogs die. I've had those kind of deaths, but no one like, no one like super close to me that like was unexpected. Never like a loved one. Like when your grandparents died, like I was like, they were old, like they were ready to go. Not that it wasn't sad. I don't want to say that because it was sad, but it wasn't like life shattering. And I know that for some people going through deaths or had someone die when they were younger, like a parent or maybe like a husband or wife or a child, that is a completely different experience. And when I did my past life regression, which I did that about a year ago, the life that I went back into, I was a man and I had a girlfriend that I lived with. And halfway through the regression, I realized how sick she was. And she was like dying, but I don't think anyone knew how. And I just started bawling in my session while I'm being hypnotized. And I'm very aware while this is happening. If you don't know a lot about regression hypnosis, I definitely suggest you looking it up. But I was just so sad, and I just felt that pain of losing somebody so close to me. And I've never experienced that before in this lifetime, right? But I did in my previous. So I believe that I was shown, at first I'm like, why am I being shown this? Like that was the gist of my regression, was like, she was sick, we got married, and then she died. And then I lived the rest of my life like lonely and sad, pretty much, from what I gathered. I was like, why was I shown that? But now I realize why. Like I needed to be shown that kind of pain because I want to help people on all levels of pain, all levels of experience. I've dealt with financial issues as well, like not having money. And I see that pain as something as powerful because it goes into my teachings and it goes into my videos and my content that I create for all of you. So it really is powerful. So I'm happy I died. I'm happy everything has happened because I'm at such a beautiful place in my life right now where I'm able to get really vulnerable on these videos. And that's another thing I like to preach and talk about is vulnerability. How powerful that is to be able to express yourself and be open in a different kind of way because people hold back their emotions, they hide things, and that just makes us so weak and scared and living in a state of fear. But when you can be open and live in that place of love and just like acceptance, and I'm just going to say right now, if any of you are afraid to open up about what you're going through and you think that people won't understand, I promise you they will, because if they aren't going through the exact same thing you're going through, they are going through something else just as dark that you probably have no idea what it is, because everybody hides things. I'm still going through some dark stuff in my life. I'm still working through some fears and some self-doubts and some issues with really just loving my body that I'm still practicing. And we all have things we're struggling with. We're human. That is part of the reason we come to this beautiful planet, is to experience these kinds of feelings, these darker energies, because we don't feel these in the afterlife. We just feel peace, love, happiness, joy, and I know we want to strive to feel like that all the time, but I promise you before that you came here on this planet, you signed up for these dark emotions, because these dark emotions, you're like, you didn't want to come here and live a life that was all happy and peaceful because you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't learn anything. We come to this planet to learn. We come to absorb information. We come to just dig our get our hands dirty and like learn how the human planet works. You know what I'm saying? So like we sign up for these dark things. So I'm not saying I wish everyone to have a dark, miserable life. That's not what I'm saying. But I just want you to know there is beauty in it and there is power in it. When we can turn that pain into power, it's so beautiful. So that's what I'm doing with this death experience that I had. I'm finally being vocal about it. I'm finally sharing it because I'm realizing how powerful that is. And it is a beautiful thing in the long run. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If any of you have any more questions, or maybe you had a near-death experience yourself, please comment below. I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to give back some words of encouragement to you too as well. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.